Welcome to the Guitar for Vets Guitar Shop. The Guitar Shop is officially open. If you're new to this guitar shop or any other guitar shop, make sure your hands are clean before entering and enter with a smile for the staff. Guitar shops are the guitar player's mecca where you can try out gear and learn about new gear. So, I want to do this. Let's see. So, Daniel B. here. I'm with G4V Cav Arts virtual chapter guitar instructor, and as of recently, Guitar for Vets Cav Arts event coordinator. And your host of this guitar shop. The shop wouldn't be complete without G4V Guitar Shop guitar gurus, one of which is not going to be along for the ride today because he has some other commitments. But we have John DeMarco with us.
Hey, everybody. Good to see you.
All right, please bear in mind that our discussions are based on our experience, opinions, skills, and knowledge. Every effort is taken to verify any information we put forth. Any references to brands are for demonstration purposes only. We at the Guitar for Vets Guitar Shop have no affiliations with any of the brands we use. So, we have some special guests today, and with us are G4V Guitar Instructors, Bruce Bjork. Wave your hand down there somewhere, Bruce.
Hi.
All right, that's Bruce Bjork. And, of course, we have another Guitar for Vets. Now, Bruce is, that's what I wanted to say about Bruce. Bruce is a cyber chapter Guitar for Vets instructor. And you're on your 75th?
Yeah, my 75th student graduated last week. It hasn't hit Salesforce yet, but
congratulations,
yeah,
man.
well, and I'm working. I've got 4, students in lessons now.
Bruce, you're going to be having a very special gift coming your way, from what I understood. Yeah, he's all right. And no stranger to guitar instruction is Mr. Dan Conley. Dan, say hello. Step up. You got to say hi, buddy. Step up.
Hey, guys. How's it going? I'm Dan Conley. I'm a in-person and cyber instructor for G4V. I'm also the chapter administrator for the Seattle chapter. Happy to be here.
Dan, thank you for helping us today. And finally, last but not least, from the Silicon Valley of California, Mr. Rich Gamboa. Richie, say hey.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
Keep talking.
Oh, you can't hear me?
No, we got you.
Keep talking so you come up on the screen.
All right, I don't know why I'm not coming up on the screen. Hello everybody.
There you are.
All right. Okay. It looks like you're still green on my Zoom for some reason, so I don't know if I'm coming through. Hopefully well, it's got like a green outline around your box, right? So anyway, hopefully that's great. You can hear me. That's super. All right. Yeah. Technically, I'm from Gilroy, which is south of Silicon Valley. I worked in Silicon Valley in the San Jose area. I'm now in Gilroy, the garlic capital of the world. We just had the Garlic Festival a weekend or so ago in Northern California. We're kind of in between San Jose and Monterey is where we are. So, all right.
So this is great, man. I'm so happy that we have you three with us, because what they're going to do is they'll be giving us a complete history of Baroque music in 3-part harmony and orchestration.
I love it. It's been a long time since I studied that. Yeah.
So, well, not exactly. These gentlemen are or have been in local cover bands. And why is that important for this show? Your local musicians work hard to recreate the music you know and love, and for that takes the experience and knowledge of guitars and gears to do the job, as well as the hours of practice that they put in. It's also rehearsing with the gear they use to perform with, their rig. While the recording and touring musicians have a slew of techs and support, it's not so with the local cover player. Believe me, I know. We carry our own stuff. We are our own grunts. We are our own setup people. And therefore, the equipment that they choose gets the sound for the songs that they choose to perform. So starting us off on this rig rundown event, because we're not going to have that much, well, it's not a time constraint, but we want to get everybody in at least within an hour and a half. Excuse me. So starting us off on this rig rundown event, we have G4V Instructor from California. Put your hands together for Mr. Rich Gamboa.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Am I on screen, Daniel? Am I working? All right, everybody. Thanks so much. I'm keeping you on gallery view so I can see you all. I'd love it if you have questions. Feel free to unmute and ask me as I go. I tend to be long-winded, so please cut me off if my time is up. But that's why I want to make sure we try to leave some time for questions. So, as I mentioned, I'm in Northern California. I actually grew up in Chicago. That's where I was born and raised. But I moved out here when I was a young one and went to school here and have been here ever since. I started playing solo shows for tips with an acoustic guitar in coffee shops when I was just learning my way on the guitar. I started playing piano when I was 5 years old, and I'm a keyboard player. In fact, I probably play as much keyboards in my classic rock bands as I do guitar, but I do solo shows just with guitars as well. I'm now turning 68 this year, so I've been doing this for quite some time. When I say I've been doing that since I was 20 something, yeah. My first cover band, we still play the same 70s classic rock that covers the whole spectrum, everything from one-hit wonders like Never Been Any Reason to lots of Skinner and Allman Brothers and ZZ Top and on and on and on and on and on. The only difference is my cover bands used to play those when they were hot off the radio, and we're still playing them now, right? Still our set list. We tweak them a little bit as we go, but that's how long I've been around. And so is my gear. So let me just jump into what I'm doing. I've got solo shows that sometimes are just acoustic. I've got solo shows where they want, 1 hour of acoustic and an hour or two of something more danceable. And so I'll bring my electric guitar too. So I'll have acoustic and an electric and a PA and just me. I use backing tracks, something that's really the digital thing, the quality of it. So I do these backing track shows. It sounds like a full band, but it's just me. And I'll just play whatever I'm playing on on each song. And then I've got a classic rock band. When I do the classic rock thing, I've got to set up a keyboard, an acoustic, and then usually 2 electric guitars. I got a Strat and an Epiphone Les Paul Custom. And usually because of our set list in the rock band, I've got to play keyboards and all 3, right? So the theme of my gear in a nutshell is I'm 68, kind of like Daniel said. I want things that are light. It's all about how easy can my setup be? Because if I've got to set up, especially for the band, I've got to set up a keyboard and 3 guitars. I got to streamline this whole operation, and it's all got to fit in my Jeep Cherokee, a Jeep Grand Cherokee, right? And so I've had to stream down on my gear. So when I'm doing my acoustic shows, and I put together a little thing. Thank you for inspiring me to do this, Dan Conley. But an AI-generated rig flow. You don't have to put it on the screen, Daniel, but maybe if you want to email it, to everybody after we're done, you can do that. Or maybe if there's still time, you can put it on.
I'll put it up on the final edit. Yeah.
Okay. So, but it's this cool little thing of my rig rundown. So let me take you through it in a nutshell. All right, my acoustic guitar of choice. Everybody's an Ovation hater. Man, I go online and everybody hates these things. I love this taken to gigs. It's not my favorite guitar for recording, but it is my favorite guitar to bring out for a lot of reasons. It's light. When I'm standing, people go, "Oh, you can't play it when you're sitting down." I'm going, I'm not at the point where I play when I stand all the time. Even when I set up the rock band, I set up the keyboards at level, because a lot of times I have to play guitar and then play a solo on the keyboards and then go back to guitar, right? So everything's up at standing level, and I stand for 3 hours. That's just what I do. So it sits fine. In fact, it's a lot easier stand. It's so light and easy, and it's easy to play. I've got a weird pinky finger, genetic, not anything else. So the biggest guitar challenge I have is when guys stretch and get that pinky out there. Man, I can't do that because my fingers pointed the wrong direction, right? So that's something I've had to compensate for when I play, but it also lends me to playing guitars with smaller fret widths or whatever, right? And this is just a very comfortable guitar for me. People say it sounds terrible, which I don't necessarily disagree with if I'm just playing it without any amplification or effects or whatnot. But I run it through, and I don't know if you can see all this stuff on my screen. I run it through it'll be on my diagram. It's a Boss. I love Boss stuff. It's a Boss 8010. It's a preamp made especially for acoustic guitar, and it's one unit. It's plug and play. It's got delay, chorus, an EQ. It's got a tuner, of course, and it's compact and it's great. It sits. I don't know if you can see my thing. It sits on my table. I don't usually. It could be a foot switch. I just put it on the table next to my mixer because when I'm doing my solo shows, I want to be able to just get everything, easily, and I can do that and change things around. I usually have almost just one standard setting for most of the acoustic show anyway, and so I'm not fiddling with it once I sound check it and get it right in the first place. I'm having trouble, I know, being able to demo how things sound. So what I will say is my acoustic stuff and my solo show stuff, if you go to YouTube and just search Rich Gamboa music on YouTube, you'll see a lot of my solo show performance stuff using my gear and this guitar. You'll get an idea how it sounds and all of that. But I'll tell you what, it's killer. And it really gives me a lot of flexibility. And this thing sounds great, whether I pick it, playing chords, playing up here, no matter what, with this acoustic through those effects. And then I run that through a board. I did spend money on my board. The acoustic preamp was pretty affordable. I don't know. I think $100 comes to mind, $89.99 for the Boss 8010. This isn't a fortune, fancy guitar. Again, this is meant to be anybody that's been in a band as long as my classic rock band is Usual Suspects. Search Usual Suspects Rock. So if you're on YouTube, go Usual Suspects Rock. If you're going on the internet, usualsuspectsrock.com. But put the rock in there, otherwise there's a million bands with named the Usual Suspects. Now, we've been around for 30 some years, so I think we got to be one of the first ones. But anyway, I diverged. What was I going to say about that? So anyway, that's my acoustic setup. Oh, the board. What do you spend money on? What do you not? When I was buying gear in the 80s, I didn't have any money. And so everything was a budget. And, it affected some of the choices I made then. But as I've gone on and the budget hasn't been much of a problem, you still find what's worth spending money on and what's not. And certainly speakers and a board, I think, are what you spend money on. Effects for me, I haven't been a guy that spent a lot of money on pedal. I'm not a pedal hound or any of that kind of stuff. We'll talk about my electric setup in a second. But anyway, that's my acoustic setup.
Raise your camera up, Rich, so we can see your wonderful face.
I'm sorry. I was sitting and now I'm standing. So yeah, I'm talking. I'm just a headless horseman.
Perfect.
All right. So let me put this down. Any questions on my acoustic setup at all?
Hey, Rich, this is John. I was just wondering about. So you're going from the Ovation, which has already got a small preamp,
Yep.
into another preamp.
Yep.
Any thoughts or conclusions about mixing those two together for the group?
No, you just got to make sure you keep your EQ settings on the thing, in the middle, but you'll be surprised when you play around with this Boss preamp. It's just and it doesn't make noise. It's clean as can be. And then I do take it out stereo to the board, and then my board's got one of those channels that's got 9, 10, both. So I've got one fader to worry about, but it's still going out in stereo. And I do the same thing with my backing tracks. By the way, if anybody hasn't seen, I've tried to send out a couple of emails to promote, although I'm not paid to do so, Jam Zone. So anybody that has aspirations to do soloing backing track shows, I used to create my own backing tracks and it would take forever. And then somebody said, dude, try Jam Zone. And I said, man, it's way better than what I'm putting together. And it's crazy good. So let me just say, go to Jam Zone. But I just put the Jam Zone, I download all my backing tracks, put them into set lists based on the shows that I'm doing on my iPad mini, run it out into the board. I've got a special cable that's got whatever it is, a C on one side and stereo XLRs on the other side to go straight into the board. And it's just, it's unbelievable what I can do with my backing tracks. Again, go to my YouTube channel, Rich Gamboa Music, and you'll see some of that demoed there. But anyway, that's my acoustic setup. Electric guitar. Oh, and then it goes direct to the board. All right, my electric. And I'm not going to talk about my Les Paul because I really don't use it. Again, being older, if I can get away with one electric guitar, why do I want to bring two, right? It's only because of my classic rock band and what our set list is like that I really need to bring a second one. But when I'm doing my solo shows, it's all about classic rock. You know, I think a lot of people say the Strat. Mine's a American Strat. I'm thinking it was 1995 when I bought this thing. And I love it. And I love the maple. I just love the way it feels. I took the whammy bar off because I never used it. It just seemed to get in the way for me. But I don't know what I can say about this, except that, you know, if you're playing Skynyrd or Creedence or, you know, anything with a country rock bent or, you know, country anything, it's the guitar choice. And man, I don't need to. I'm not the best guitar player around, but it works great. So, like I said, I'm not set up to demo stuff. We had trouble when we tried to sound check before. My guitar was cutting out, so I'm not going to play it. But that's what I use effects-wise. So, yeah, I did when I was younger. I used to mess around with pedals, and when I had money, it was like when I was really young, I used to have money in my pocket. I'd go down to the store and buy 45s. Again, I'm turning 68 this year, so I still have a 45. But then when I was a little older, it was like all about pedals, right? Oh, I got to get a new pedal, right? And then as I've gotten older, going back to just making life, somewhere I stumbled across a really cheap, it's called the Boss ME20. There's a better version of them out there. By the way, it's now discontinued, so you'd have to get something called a Boss, I think 25 to be the equivalent of this low-end thing. But for me, well, let me talk a little bit about the classic rock band. You know, on piano, I'm frickin' Keith Emerson or Rick Wakeman or whatever you want to say. I'm guitar. I'm John Fogerty, but I'm not Eddie Van Halen. And I'm not a lot of things that a lot of you guys probably are, right? And so in my rock band, I'm rock guitar number 2. And I'm keyboardist. I'm keyboardist and I'm rock guitar number 2. And my classic rock band, again, go to usualsuspectsrock.com. We do have frickin' Eddie Van Halen in the band. I've got a guy named Jeff Rippin. The guy, what a name, Rippin, right? That was his given name. He's a frickin' Rippin guy. But he's amazing. And so my whole life, my classic rock band together for 30 years, I said, I never have to worry about that stuff because Jeff does it. I'm just the second guy that's going to play along with him, whatever I'm playing to make him sound better and whatnot, right? So I'm guitar player number 2, and then I'm keyboard player. So I don't have to worry about a whole lot of effects. So I found this thing. It was cheap. It's easy. It's called the Boss ME20. It's got a pedal. You do have a wah. You do have a delay. You do have chorus. You got everything. And it's got a bunch of presets. And being a lazy guy, I don't like to spend time making my own sounds if I can go through all the presets and go, dude, oh, that's exactly what I was looking for. And it's easy to find presets. And then you can just, you know, organize your presets for your show very easily on this Boss ME20. I know I'm not showing it, but it'll be on my diagram. And then that goes into, this is what I wanted to spend the most, because this is what people seem to be most interested in.
It's an
is
awesome
my
amp.
JC120. So can you see it okay on camera? Let me move this stool. Can you see it or should I move my camera? Anyway, it's a
No, we can
Roland.
see it.
Okay.
Everybody knows
Yeah.
that's one of my
Yeah,
favorite
yeah.
amplifiers.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a Roland Jazz Chorus 120. Now, the story on this is I bought that new in 1982. 1982, and maybe the best testimonial is it's been hauled around, it's been dropped, it's been flopped on its front and kicked and loaded, and I still use, and it sounds just as good as the day I bought it. How many gear things can you say that about, right? 82, I am getting old. That's weird. Um, and then I mic it with a Shure SM57 and put it into the board, right? And so that's kind of all I do. What can I tell you about that amp? It's the antithesis of like a Marshall or whatever. It was one of the first solid state amps that guitarists actually said, oh, it's not a tube amp, but it's cool. I can see using this thing, right? And it was kind of ahead of its time in the early when it first came out, because it had this stereo chorus in there, which if I was going to do a demo. If I plug my guitar, forget the effects, just go straight into the amp, and I've got a distortion that's workable, but such a nice clean tone coming out of there. And then when I put on that stereo jazz chorus, it's really sweet. It's just something that even a lot of the effects chorus doesn't sound nearly like what it sounds when you put that jazz chorus through there. And you can see a lot of demos of the jazz chorus online too, but that's exactly, and it's still pretty much all the same, all those years. And it's just great. I love it. It's got 2 channels. So when I'm doing the Rock Band, part of the reason why I loved it is I can put my keyboards into channel 1 and then put my guitars into channel 2, and then and then I'm just set. And then because I mic it, it makes it easier for our sound guy, because he doesn't have to worry about, oh, Rich is playing keyboards. Oh, he's playing acoustic. He's playing whatever I'm playing. It's just going to come out of one channel through that mic, through the board that he has to worry about. But it also gives me a little control on stage, because, monitor mixes are not always the best. And sometimes, especially if we're doing a gig where you get these, sound guys that are doing all the, or, you got a sound guy that's not our sound guy. Our sound guy is great because he knows our whole set. He does all kinds of things. Perfect. But other sound guys don't know when your solos come or what's going on all the time, and how, and you don't want to be like waving at them the whole time. So, if my monitor, I can always just turn my amp up a little bit. It's on stage, and it helps me, sometimes when my monitor mix. And then again, it works no matter what I'm playing. So it's easy. I just make sure it's within distance that I can turn around and easily tweak the knobs on the amp, but usually I don't have to touch them. So anyway, my whole theme is plug and play. Oh, and then light. I use QSC, amazing speakers. We used to have a haul around big, huge racks of power amps and big, huge speakers. And now I got these QSC 10s, and then sometimes we use QSC 12s at the show along with them. And then I use the same QSC 10s for monitors. And man, they're light, and those things are just so great. And then I got a cheapo subwoofer because I wanted something that would fit in my car along with everything else. So I got the smallest subwoofer I can. And again, if I'm doing a solo show, it's fine. If we're doing a big, like the fair, or like, we do some bigger shows with the rock band, they're always going to have a sound guy with we just bring our gear and don't worry about any PA stuff at all. So I don't have to worry about a subwoofer. So I just got the cheapest. It's a Harbinger 12 or something like that, but it's easy and it's light. That's the thing. It's like a subwoofer and it's light, and it's like, oh, that's great. So I can get everything easily into the back of my car, even if I'm doing keyboards, and it all fits and everything's good. So I don't think I've taken up too much time. Are there questions or anything on anything I've covered, or anything anybody wants to talk about?
Anybody got questions? Y'all can unmute for a second and we can talk about.
Rich, do you use the SM57 for your voice also?
Those are great for mic and instruments, but my vocals, I have an SM58. In fact,
58.
For years, 58s were the vocal, every cover band I saw had 58s, and we still use them. For some reason, I fell in love with this Sennheiser.
I
And
bet you have
so
the same one I have. You have the
my
same one I
go-to
have.
vocal mic is this Sennheiser. I just seem to like, yeah, I
It's the
love the
same
sound
one
of
I've
this a
got.
lot. Yeah, there you go. I like it a lot more than the 58.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so thank you for asking. It makes me
And
feel
they
better
weren't
there was a
expensive
question.
either.
No, like I said, I don't want to spend any more money than I have to on stuff.
Right.
If that works, great. I go, well, why would I get a Sennheiser that's twice as expensive? That's kind of my thinking. And same thing with all my other gear. Yeah, for the most part. Like I said, the QSCs are something that I spent money on. It's like,
Yeah, they're a
yeah,
little pricey.
don't get a
but
cheap pair of speakers. Don't get a cheap pair of speakers though, and then like I said, they last. They're sturdy, really sturdy, and yeah. I don't know what else I can say about my show.
Rich, thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Really
All right.
appreciate it. Great presentation, dude.
Thank you.
I know,
Thank
yeah,
you.
we guys are not usually used to doing such things, but you really got a point across, and we as cover musicians, it's really hard to choose equipment that's going to work for you, make the sound that you want, and create the sound that folks want to hear, or that folks want to hear. So you've got a really nice alignment going there. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Appreciate
Thanks.
you.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate being on.
Please hang around for a bit.
Yeah, yeah. And anybody on the call, reach out to me if you have any questions. On anything. I'm only on. Unlike Bruce, I'm only on my 10th student. I've got 2 now. I've been doing this for about 5 years, but I would only take on like one or two students a year my first couple of years because I was working hard. But now I'm retired. I got lots of time to do this or respond to questions, or I don't want Paul to take on more students because 2 is about, I think a week is enough for me right now. But
there's
I'm
Paul
looking
right
forward
there.
to taking on more. Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks, Rich. Mr. Dan Conley is next up. And
Hey, guys.
thank you again, Rich. Big hand for Rich.
Yeah, thanks, Rich.
Thanks.
That was awesome, dude.
Thanks.
Yeah, my name's Dan Conley. I am a cyber instructor. I'm an in-person instructor and a chapter administrator in the Seattle chapter for Guitars for Vets. Thanks to Daniel and everybody for inviting me to present to you. I'm also a U.S. Army vet, and for the last 10 or so years, I've been playing in the same local rock cover band. That's kind of a theme with all the other musicians here. The rig I'm going to show you here in just a second is something that me and the other members of the band kind of aligned on over the number of years ago. The theme of it is similar to kind of one of the things that Rich was talking about and Daniel was alluding to at the very beginning, which is how do you minimize the trips to and from the car to load in, right? We're not getting any younger. So lightness, optimizing for the physical stuff, I would say, which is like just weight and bulk and lightness. The other half of the physical stuff is your monitoring setup and protecting your hearing. If you've ever played in a live band, especially a live rock and roll band, unless you are fortunate enough to play on a large size stage, which we aren't. We play on stages not much bigger than this desk sometimes, it seems like. So you're like right up against a live drummer, and even if they want to not hit really hard, at least for me personally, crash cymbals and snare hits are like ice picks right into the side of my already kind of blown hearing. So try to protect and monitor for that. Our band is a 4-piece, 2 guitar, bass, drums. Bass player is also the lead singer. Us 2 guitar players and the bass player basically have this exact same rig, which I'm about to show you. When we first started off, we did the whole classic, hey, we're bringing our own tube amps and pedal boards and all this kind of stuff. And we started kind of thinking about, well, if you've ever played in a live situation and you're dealing with live monitoring, loud drummer, you're usually probably wearing earplugs. There's the constant, can I get a little more me in my monitor kind of a thing? Or you kind of sneak around to the, squeeze the other half of the stage to kind of do the cool move where you're sharing a mic for background vocals and all of a sudden you can't hear anything that you're playing or singing because none of your stuff is in the monitor mix, all the typical live music challenges. And so our design of our rigs was set up to really help kind of deal with all of that. So I have a graphic slide that I'm going to share if this works right there. So thank you, ChatGPT. I put in a prompt that said, hey, build me a Guitar Geek rig layout. And after a bunch of back and forths, this is where I've landed. Can you guys see what I'm presenting?
Yep. Yep,
So
we got
really
it.
the punchline on this is we do basically the equivalent of a silent stage, and we run direct into a modeling solution. In this case, we're all using stuff by Line 6. Me and Jim, the other guitar player, are using the Helix floor. And Tom, our bass player, used to use a full-size Helix as well, and then optimized down to he actually uses the Pod Express, that little itty bitty guy, because he literally has one sound, right? And then his pedal board has that, and then he's got a Boss effects unit specifically that he runs his vocal mic into to give him some additional sweetness for his live vocals. But essentially, we run guitars direct into Modeler. That goes direct into the PA system. So any guitars and bass that you hear outside is coming straight out of your PA system. We have no cabinets on our tiny little stages that we play on. There's no speaker cabinets for guitars or bass. For monitoring out of the PA, we use in-ear monitors, which does two things. It absolutely helps with being able to hear yourself. No matter where you are walking around on the stage, or I should say like inching around on the stage. They also have, just by the nature of them and the models that we use, they have about a 16 dB noise reduction. So you're also doing some ear protection there for the loudness of the drums. And really that's it. The PA system that we're using is a Behringer. It's an older one. It's an X18 Air. It's and so it sits in a rack, and we use an app on an iPad, and that does all our mixing. We also have that same app installed either on our phones or another iPad, and that enables us to control our own individual mixes. So what is coming out of front of house PA is probably going to be very different than what each of us choose to hear in our mixes in our own ears. That is basically the extent of it. So load in for me personally, going from car, which literally I did. I've been home, maybe we had a gig last night, so I've only been home about 6 hours, maybe 8 hours now, late night. Is I have a bag, which is custom made that Line 6 provided with my Helix floor that has some cables and stuff in it. So I have the carry bag for that. I use a 2-guitar electric guitar kind of gig bag, and I can just one on each arm and just walk that right into the gig. Our drummer and our bass player will pull up out front in their cars, and we'll just help them unload the drums, help them unload a couple crates, and with all the cables and such, and the 8-space rack. And then we plug in and we set up. Another amazing thing about a direct digital rig is sound consistency. That goes for, obviously you're using the same patches on your modeler. So for your guitar tones, you don't have to deal with any inconsistencies that sometimes you get with amps, especially tube amps, depending on the climates. And then also, once we have sounds dialed in on the digital mixer, you kind of just save that as a preset and you're done. Like you literally power everything on, you do a quick line check, we'll do a quick sound check, make sure everything's done, and then we're ready to rock and roll for the evening's festivities. So that's kind of the whole spiel there. I'm happy to answer any specific questions that you have. Oh, I'll add one more thing real quick is, yes, even though these digital monitors have a billion amp models and effects and the whole nine and stuff like that, I usually do the entire night with one patch. And I have 4 what are called snapshots. If you guys are familiar with digital modeling, Line 6 calls them snapshots. I think Fractal calls them scenes. They're all kind of the same idea, which is almost, think of it as a preset within a preset. So you can have one preset that has everything loaded in it, and you're just clicking buttons, and that can change multiple things in one button press, right? So if you're familiar with doing the good old fashioned, hey, I've got amps and I've got a pedal board, instead of doing a tap dance kind of a thing where, oh, I need to turn on the delay, I need to turn off this, I need to click on my watt, whatever. I can click one button and it does all those changes in one shot. And so where I'm able to cover the range of all of the songs that we play in a night, and those range from some 70s classic rock all the way up to kind of the early aughts pop punk stuff that we do in the last set late at night when all the youngins come in to do their power drinking. And so I'm able to do all that. And then so I have four tones. And Daniel, this might be a great kind of, future kind of topic where we can kind of really deep dive into kind of sound and tone philosophies for musicians. I basically have the four
Sounds
snapshots
good.
and the one preset is I do one clean, I do one kind of light crunch. I do one what I call rock, which is kind of your more full on, rock distortion sound, and then I have a solo boost preset or snapshot. And then I do ride my volume knob a lot. So on my light kind of crunchy one, I can back off the guitar volume and that cleans it up really, really nicely as well. If I just kind of want that little nice edge of breakup stuff for like when we do a Tom Petty tune or something like that. So I know I just talked really fast. You have a bunch of you have this visual up in front of you. That's kind of the nuts and bolts of exactly what we do. Happy to answer any specific questions. But there we go.
Hey Dan, you mentioned that everybody's wireless for you guys. I've had problems sometimes using that outside, and it's a thing where you don't think you're too far away. All I did was move across the stage, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
I'm gone.
Yeah.
So have you ever had problems, and how do you mitigate problems when you all go wireless?
So our in-ears are wireless for the three of us up front. Our drummer is using wired. That's why you saw in the rack where there's a headphone amplifier, because her mix goes out of the aux out on the mixer into a headphone amplifier, and she just has, and she, like I said, our stages are tiny, right? So our stages. If you ever played in a divey sports bar, right? Sometimes a stage is
man. Yeah.
move two tables out of the way and you get this little piece of anyway. To answer your question, the only time we've had problems with the wireless signal for our in-ears is literally if one of the antennas on the back of the rack has come loose. But we are physically, literally, and I am the farthest away from the rack, and it's just on the other side of the drum kit from me. So I'm talking like 6 or 7 feet tops, right? Tops. And so, no, we haven't really had any challenges with that kind of stuff.
What was the brand of wireless you were using for your in-ear?
Yeah. So, me and Tom, the bass player singer, we're using the Carvin, I think it's called the EM900.
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of the most affordable at the time we bought them, that was still kind of more pro kind of style gear. The other guitar player, Jim, has I don't even know what brand it is. It's kind of some rando kind of Chinese brand thing like that. And that seems to work for him, right? Jim does use a wireless for his guitar. It's kind of one of those little dongly kind of, there's a billion of them, right? Like a Nuix or something like that. I used to do that as well. But I found that where I have a problem with guitar wireless, Rich, is, and I haven't done this in a long time. So I do have a Shure unit. I need to kind of get more back into my rig, but is if you have a guitar that has magnetic and piezo pickups in it, like I have an old Parker, I have one of my other EVHs that I kind of have that same thing. So if you want to kind of, with one guitar, be able to deal some acoustic-y kind of stuff, flip a switch and then go back to the mag pickups, boy, wireless units hate those, right? You get all kinds of high-pitched nonsense kind of going on with that. So I went back to using a cables forever on that. And then also, like, I physically don't move around. I'm standing right here, microphone's right here. Helix is sitting on the floor. I don't need a wireless for my guitar, right? But it's cool, yeah. So that's the only time we've had a weird wireless challenge, is if one of the antennas came undone or something like that.
Hey,
All right.
Dan,
Any other questions?
Yeah, Dan, I was gonna ask you about the in-ear monitors.
Yeah.
You were saying that you get like a minus 16 dB on it. Is that enough to kind of, since you're right on top of the drums, is that enough to really dampen sort of that shock from the drums?
100%. And the actual earphones themselves, man, as you know, there's a spectrum of what you can get, right? So mine happened to be custom molded. I think Cheryl and Tom use just kind of off the shelf ones with the little foamy things. And so those will have very different, varying different level of dB reduction. The 16 is just what mine came with. And the only reason I got the custom molded ones, and I told you guys this kind of, when we were talking about ramping up for this production, was we were at NAMM a few years ago. And if you've ever been there, it's like Disneyland if you're a musician. It's pretty crazy. But the company Ultimate Ears had a huge booth there, and they were having like a show special where if you went and you ordered them right there, you got like $400 off, and they did your custom imaging of your ear canal and sent them off, and they shipped them back to you. So we bought the lowest end ones. I think they're called the UE5s. They're only 2 drivers. A bunch of companies never make them. You can go up to like 15 drivers or something ridiculous like this, and they're $3,000. That'd be nice, but mine are not like that. And someone wants to send me some, sure, but these have worked great for I've had, how long have I had these? Probably 5 or 6 years now. They work great. Yeah.
So analog or electronic drums?
Analog, 100%. Yeah. Sorry, someone else was asking.
Dan, I was going to ask, did you give a backstory on the band name?
The Gray Area is the name of our band. Boy, band names are tough to come up with. It kind of came up as just kind of a play on words, which is like, are you guys any good? Well, that's a gray area. What color is your hair? Mostly gray. Do you know how to play that song? It's kind of a gray area. So yeah. So that's just kind of where it came from, right?
So with the younger kids, you'd be 6, 7?
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Right, exactly. Yeah, last night, literally, one of the kids later on at night was like, hey, do you guys take requests? And we're like, sure, the songs that we know. What do you want to hear? And the guy's like, do you play any System of a Down? And I'm like, do I look like a System of a Down band? I mean, come on, guys. But anyway, so yes. And of course, you get Freebird every night requested, but yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much, Dan. That was a really great presentation that you had there. Let's see. Then we only have one other person, and I think he knows who he is. I'm going to get you up here in a second, Bruce. Get stretched out, stretch out, do your exercises real quick. Yeah, there you go. And Bruce will, I really have to say this. Bruce, congratulations on 75. 75 students graduated.
Thank you.
And the one thing about Bruce, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that Bruce plays multiple instruments. And he's got he plays guitar, but he also has dobro. He also has a cigar box, which I love that cigar box. I have a friend of mine that makes cigar box guitars. They're awesome to play around with. A little laptop steel I see over there in the corner. And the one instrument I love hearing Bruce on is his pedal steel. So, Bruce, I'm going to let you into this. Show us your rig, man.
All right. Thanks for letting me participate in this. I am a lifetime musician. I'm 79 years old. I'm a disabled Navy veteran, and I started teaching at my local Veterans Center 10 years ago. COVID shut it down, so now I switched to, I have students from the Cyber chapter, I have students from Cav Arts, and I also teach with through the Harlem chapter in New York. I live on the southern coast of Maine, nice and quiet up here. This is a great program. I mean, I can't tell you the experiences that I've had with all of my students over the years. Let's go to the gear. Okay, I have a 1967 a Gill D40 that I bought in 1967. It has a K&K pickup, which are great. I stuck that in there, I don't know, like maybe 10 or 15 years ago, and I replaced the tuners with Waverleys. I think I spent more for the Waverly tuners than I did for the guitar when I first bought it. I have a Matt Arcara 12-inch custom banjo. It's down over here. I use a gold tone mic when I'm playing out. And the only other thing, these 5-string banjos, it's difficult to capo the 5th fret. So what I've come up with, I have a small brass bolt that I can slide in and out and cape with. Yeah, gold tone mic with a preamp. What else do I have here? I have a gold tone Bela Fleck baritone banjo, which is really nice. It's tuned down a 5th, so it has a lot of sustain and just a much different sound. I have a 92 Deneve Dobro, which I mic with a Myers feather mic. The other thing with the Dobro is you really need a strap lock because you're not holding it. It's what I can't. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to get a strap lock. I buy these little 50-cent neoprene washers and wrap it around the strap, the strap button. They work great. Okay, what else do we got here? I have a Justice Pro Light single neck pedal steel, which has been my money instrument for quite a while. Pedal steel has 10 strings. It has 3 pedals, A, B, and C. It has 5 knee levers, left, right, vertical, left, and right. Each one of those levers and pedals changes the tuning of 2 strings, either up an interval, down, or half. It's really a cool, that has been my money instrument when I played out for quite a few years, and then I quit the band business about a year ago. I still do occasional gigs, but getting home at 2 o'clock in the morning, playing to a bunch of drunks in biker bars, and I just gave up on it. I got a cheap lap steel. It's an SX. It's tuned to an open D. I got a cigar box guitar that one of my local guys built for me. I have a Kentucky mandolin. It's a very inexpensive mandolin. But I use that in a lot of the, when I was playing out, I was playing. Oh, and I also have I have a Telecaster. I bought a used Telecaster, I don't know, like 30 years ago. So when I was playing out, I was playing pedal steel, Telecaster, banjo, and mandolin. So I was bringing a bunch of stuff to the gigs. I also play a mountain dulcimer. It's over there in the corner. Amplifiers. I have 3 amps. I have a Spark 2, which I cannot highly recommend. It is just it's the coolest amp. It has all the effects you'd ever want to have. It's got 8 presets. So I have presets for all of these instruments. I've actually gigged with it, and I use a Sennheiser amp mic. I also have a Boss Katana 100 that I bought when they first came out, and my son and I switched out the cabinet. So it's solid pine with a different grill. It really improved the sound. That solid pine as opposed to that MDX cabinet. I also have a custom pedal steel amp. It's over here. It's a PV Nashville 112, which is a pedal steel amplifier. I had a custom cabinet built for it, and I took out the 12-inch speaker and put in a 15-inch speaker, and I mean that thing totally kicks ass. And it was great for gigging because it's got two inputs, so I could plug the steel into one and my Telecaster into the other, and I could switch back and forth. Okay, effects. I'm not really a big effect guy. I mean, I'm basically more of an acoustic player. But on the pedal steel, I use a carbon copy MXR delay and a Noble's OD2, it's an overdrive. Both very good pedals, the two of them. I have a TS9 tube screamer, which I use on occasion through the Boss amp, but you really don't need it with the Boss amp because it has all the effects. I have a Boss looper, which it's their entry level looper, which is great for practicing. I have a volume pedal, obviously, for the pedal steel. For the pedal steel, I have an effect that attaches to the leg. It's called a freeloader, so I can adjust the tone. It's strictly a tone control. I also have this. It's a donor ABY box. It's a channel switcher. I can plug this into an amplifier, and I can play two different guitars through it, and I can switch between guitar 1 and guitar 2, or go the other way around, and I can plug the guitar. I can play through 2 amps, and I can switch, or I can play 2 instruments into 1 amp and switch back and forth. It's like $30. I'm really not much of a gear guy, so I mean that kind of. I just like to play. I mean, I don't get caught up in the effects. Like I say, I'm more of an acoustic guy than anything else. I love the banjo. Now that I'm not gigging anymore, I'm primarily just playing guitar and guitar, banjo, and dobro. I love the dobro. I mean, I had my dobro. I don't even know where you can see it. Yeah, there it is.
There it is.
That was custom built for me back in the 90s. Instruments. So this Guild D40 from 1967 is basically it's a copy of a Martin D18. Mahogany back and sides, spruce top. I love the sound of mahogany with acoustic instruments. My dobro was custom built. It's mahogany. A lot of those dobros are built with maple, but maple has a very bright sound. I'm just a big favor of mahogany. Also, with my banjo, it was custom built locally. It's walnut, which is as far as the hardness of the wood is concerned, it's between mahogany and maple, and brass hardware on it. The frets are called something or other gold wire, so they have that gold color which matches the banjo. I wanted this tailpiece when it was built for me, and unfortunately Fielding, who built these, he was a banjo builder in Vermont, had passed away before I had this built for me. But my luthier managed to connect with his widow and got me this tailpiece, which is just stupid little things.
Is that got tuners on the bottom of it? Is that what's on there?
What this?
On the tailpiece. Are there tuners on the tailpiece?
No, there's no tuners on the tailpiece.
Or are they? Oh, okay. It's the string butts.
Yes, yeah. The tuners are over here.
At first, it looked like some fine tuners that were that could have been on there.
Like a violin. No.
Yeah, I got you. Nice.
Great banjo. Great banjo.
How you like that Bella Fleck? That was, and those are handmade also, Bruce, because I know because the Gold Tone is up the road from me.
Yeah. So let me get that for you.
Every one of those are hand built. And
Cool.
they were built in mind of Bella Fleck. In fact, Bella Fleck got the first one.
Bela Fleck actually, he was the one who basically designed this. I think it's even got his signature in here somewhere.
Yep. Yeah,
I've used this a lot when I was gigging because it has a different sound.
It does.
It has a lot of sustain. It's like I said, it's tuned down a fifth.
Very nice. Bruce, what's that volume pedal you're using for your pedal steel?
It's there are so many choices with volume pedals. And the thing with the pedal steel, most volume pedals, they have a pot, and I'm not really up on this, but they have a pot.
Yeah.
And the pot has a range. For pedal steel, the volume pedals have a broader range.
A volume, yeah, I get it.
And you can see it's there. It is over there. I got it from a guy. I forget his name. The company's called Stage One.
Yeah.
He's a pedal steel builder, and I love it's a great volume pedal.
Yeah, it's because of the 10 strings that you need that volume pedal to be a lot more of a broader decibel.
What it really does
and tones.
The pedal steel has an incredible amount of sustain.
Right.
To the point where it can be a problem, so that when you're playing, the hardest part for me learning how to play the pedal steel was how to stop the sustain. So you're playing, and then I had to learn how to palm mute or even finger mute. But the thing there are times when you want a lot of sustain, so you can hit a note and hit the volume pedal at 50%, and then increase it, and that note just goes on and on and on. I mean, that's really the purpose of the volume pedal for the pedal steel. The pedal steel for me, I mean, that's when I really started making money.
Yeah, they're fascinating instruments. Just fascinating.
Is. So when the guy built it for me, he told me, Bruce, he said, if you practice 2 hours a day for 5 years, you suck. It's not an easy instrument. It's a very.
I really have high regard for steel guitar players.
The sound is so.
It is. It's wonderful.
And I play folk music and blue. I play Bach on the pedal steel. I mean, you can play anything on it. It's kind of been pigeonholed to kind of country music, but it's a very, very versatile instrument. And people don't realize how. I mean, Elton John has pedal steel all over his stuff.
Right.
Simon and Garfunkel. If you listen to The Boxer, there's pedal steel in that. Pink Floyd. I mean.
Yeah, David Gilmour used to love his laptop steel.
Yeah.
Yeah, he used laptop steel. So it's fantastic, Bruce. Thank you so much for helping us out today. We appreciate you taking some time.
You're more than welcome.
Guys, I'm going to open it up. If everybody would, you can unmute yourselves, and if you have questions, please ask any one of us something or anything. No? Okay.
Yeah, this is Ed in Orlando,
Hi,
Florida.
Ed.
Question for Rich. What type of mixer are you using?
Oh, it's a Mackie. So
Okay.
it's called the Pro FX, I think version something, but it's more than enough board. I mean, it's really dependable. It's just, yeah. Now, again, if we're doing a really, really big gig, normally I don't have to worry about the board. So, we're still doing venues where at least we don't have to bring our PA, and which is nice, and fun to do those kinds of shows. But anytime we're setting up our own board, um, that's what we're using, and that's what we use for the solo shows as well. Yeah, and there's a way to record or something right off of it. Again, I haven't even gotten to that point of how you use all that stuff on there, but the effects are great. The board is clean. Well, more than enough. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for asking. But it's a
Thank
Mackie.
you.
Having said that, again, showing the old card, back in the day, the board of choice for us was a Mackie board, but the old school, Mackie boards, if you're familiar with those.
I have one of them.
Yeah, they were great. Oh, we love that board.
Okay. And for
Thanks for
Dan, I had a question about your headphone amplifier. What brand was that?
You asking me?
Yes.
In a rack?
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, it's just a Behringer HD 400 or something like that. It's just a single rack space headphone amplifier that has four 6 outputs. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Then what was the Carbon EM900 you were talking about?
That was our in-ear monitor transmitters.
That's what I wanted to know. What brand was that?
Carbon.
Okay.
Carvin.
Oh, BIN. Okay.
No, V.
V
is in Victor.
Okay.
Yeah, some of the few things that Carvin is still doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
And
I misunderstood that.
No, it's all good. And the story on the headphone mixer actually was when we moved to using in-ears, we did it in steps. So literally we decided, and also part of the reason for going the in-ears and the silent stage thing was we started rehearsing instead of at a rehearsal studio and renting a room. We got a spot in Tom's house. And he's like, dude, like, sure, we can have band rehearsal, man, but like, we can't do a super loud everything in here, right? Piss off the neighbors. And so our first step into the in-ears was using the mixer and then the headphone amplifier. And then we all split out and had just really long headphone cables, right? And kind of did it that way. And then we said, okay, this is neat, but now we're all getting tangled up in the cables. So let's take the next jump and then and do the wireless pack thing.
Okay, thank you. And for Bruce, the question about your little switch you had for the 1/4 inch input to 2/4 inch output. What brand is that?
It's called a Donner, Donner. They cost like $30.
Okay, DONNER.
Yeah, it's called an ABY, or it's called a Donner a channel switcher.
Okay.
It doesn't need power. I mean, you can power it up so that the light lights up, but it doesn't need power.
Yeah, that's the one I have.
Yeah, it's $30.
It looks like something I could use with my amateur radio hobby.
They're really, and it's really cool because I mean there are times when I was gigging where I had one amplifier and 2 instruments, and I could switch the instruments. Just hit the button, and now I'm playing. Now my other instruments go into the amplifier. Or if there's 2 amplifiers and 1 guitar, I can switch amplifiers just by hitting the button.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's a cool button. One thing that I forgot to mention. I've always used finger picks with my instruments, and I use different ones for different instruments. I use brass for the dobro because they're heavier. I bought a used banjo in the 60s, and there were 5 of these finger picks in the case. They're nationals, and they're like almost pre-war, and I didn't realize I got 5 of them. I still have 4 left, and they work great for the pedal steel. I can sell these for $50 for these two picks. It's ridiculous, but
because of the vintage. Nice.
because they're vintage.
Yeah.
So,
Well, gentlemen, I think any more questions? If not, let me see what I got to do here. I hope that we presented that something that y'all could glean from, have a little bit of knowledge about what happens when you're in a cover band. There's a lot of work that goes into being in a cover band, believe me, just as much as there is in being a professional. And it's finding, again, the equipment that you want to use to get your point across.
yeah.
So it's interesting. Going to a guitar shop and trying out the different gear is the best thing I could say. I love used guitar shops if I can find one, because you're going to find a lot of good, interesting equipment that you can use. That even if you're doing classic covers, whether it be country or rock and roll, you can find some of those old foot switches or amplifiers or something to get that sound. Rich, you reminded me being into keyboards. I like keyboards. I don't play them very well, but I like to mess around with them. But there was a local store that I was in, and the guy's got one of the old Yamaha electric pianos that looked like a grand piano. You remember those?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, those were great. But again, they were heavy.
They
right?
were heavy.
The first cool keyboard I bought was a Fender Rhodes 88.
Right.
Everybody got to remember the Fender Rhodes. And I mean, that sound, Riders on the Storm, is always the first song I always want to play when I want to tell people hear the sound. This is what a Rhodes does. But when you play it, it's like butter. There's nothing that plays like a Fender Rhodes. And for that reason, Chick Corea, I saw Chick Corea. I don't even know if he's still around. But the last time I saw Chick Corea, was still in the digital age, and he had every digital keyboard, but he spent 65% of the show playing his Fender Rhodes. And I said, that's why, because that thing is just an instrument that you can't replicate. But in fact, somebody just the other day said, Rich, is there something you got rid of that you regretted that you got rid of? And that Rhodes was the only thing that was on the list, really, that I regretted, but I had to sell it at one point to buy something else. And my buddies in the band said, Rich, we're not hauling that around anymore because you can get some little digital thing. Yeah. Anyway.
Takes 2 guys to move it.
Yeah.
Jan Hammer was another one that I used to like watching play one. So I guess, if we could sit here and chat on forever about gear, that's for sure. But I'm going to have to put the close sign in the window.
Okay.
I almost forgot, Paul. Upcoming events.
I gotcha.
I skipped over my notes.
August 15th, we got Guitar Bench. Maybe John wants to say a word or two.
Yeah. John?
Yeah, I'll just go real quick. I'm going to do a little demo of my lap steel that I just built. Nothing fancy. But for those of you who tuned in the last time, you saw me doing the design of it. So we'll show you that, and then we're hoping to do some soldering demonstrations. And I'm going to try to get Matthew to show us the correct way to solder, as opposed to what most of us amateurs do. So,
Great, thanks. And then we have Guitar Brigade on the 19th. I'm not sure if we're doing a blues lesson. I'm not quite sure what that lesson is, but that'll be 8:30 Eastern time. And then the 28th of August, we have office hours, and the 29th, we have bluegrass again. So Danny will keep posting all those events in the community for us. We're pretty excited. We had a really great iJam a couple nights ago. About 17 folks joined Mike Kelly, and we played through 6 songs. It was a lot of fun.
We appreciate everyone that showed up today. So thank you again, Rich. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you for your time, taking the time to do this. So to all, remember, you can pick your guitar for health and happiness. Guitar for Vets is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to providing relief to struggling veterans through the healing power of music and community. Since 2007, Guitars for Vets has served at-risk United States veterans impacted by PTSD and other service-related trauma. Through our unique 10-week structured guitar instruction program, putting the healing power of music in the hands of our nation's heroes, helping to foster renewal, connection, and community. Namaste, and be well, folks.